Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Drivers Lab iRacing Championship Round 3. We are so back, and we've upgraded everything. We are elevating to the next stage. My name is Ruslan. I'm, of course, joined by Amir Khan, my dear
Hi
colleague.
guys, nice to be here for the round 3 of our Drivers Lab iRacing League. We are here in Virginia today, Virginia International Raceway, with the new 992 Cup cars. A lot of action on track this weekend, a lot of fun with the oversteering machines that we have on track today. Ruslan, what do you got to say for that?
Well, yes, we were making the setups about 2 weeks ago, and at that time the weather was quite cool, and so we built the setup to be quite pointy. Those conditions, which were very good, very grippy conditions. Over 2 weeks, the track has gotten very, very hot, and so the tires have nothing to cling on to. It's all just soup. It becomes soup. The tires become soup. The hot gravel becomes like the hot stones of a sauna. So the grip has significantly reduced, and with that, the car balance has gone a little bit out the window. Some drivers really enjoy it because they see it as an opportunity to really excel and be above everybody else. And other drivers have been critical, I would say, about it. But they have to drive the car that's under them. Everyone's in the same boat. A little bit about Virginia. Virginia, very technical track, very narrow, very bumpy, has very unforgiving track limits because it's always grass. There's no gravel, there's no tarmac runoff. There is grass, and sometimes there's a tire wall on the other side of it. Kaminsky luckily managed to make it out.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, this is a 5.2 kilometer of pure racing, 17 turns along the Virginia farmlands. It's got very vast and rich history right here. This track was started in the 1950s, 1955s. First SCCA actually. GT cars over here, and then the first IMSA GT race of the United States happened here.
The first IMSA race?
Yes.
Wow.
Think about this as well. Carroll Shelby was the first raceman at VIR before he was Carroll Shelby.
Oh, wow.
So this track has its rich heritage, I would say. But yeah, heading into the Drivers Lab iRacing League this weekend, we've got Russell Reyes leading the standings actually by 1 point. It's funny enough, because of our drop round rules, he didn't participate in our last race round, and he's still in the lead. He's followed very closely by Hyung Nguyen though. Nguyen, he had his debut race last weekend with us in the second round of iRacing Championship in Okayama, and scored 10 points out of it. Brilliant racing from that guy. 10 points out of it. Second in standings, followed very closely by Hassan Saigil. Again, 1 point difference. Hassan almost clinched the championship standing last weekend, but messed up in the final corners before the race finished. Tough break for Hassan, but he's come back strong this weekend, and we hope that he has. Couple of tough ones last weekend with drivers like Jack Doe, Mike Epps, and I think Velasquez. But yeah, let's see what they have in store for us this weekend. We've got all the cars on track with the practice rounds active right now. I see a couple of interesting liveries. And yes, I do see that Jack Doe has my co-commentator's face on it, which is quite appealing, I would say. We like to see that.
All right. Okay. Thanks for that. But I do want to talk more about the championship standings now. We are halfway through the championship, and the leader of the championship has missed half of the rounds.
That is very true. Even though it's a 4-round championship, he has missed 1 round, which is quite a lot, actually.
Exactly. And missing half the rounds and still being at the top.
Let me bring one name to that.
Yes,
Oscar Wilkins.
Oscar Wilkins.
Where was he last race? That's what I want to hear. He had the perfect golden opportunity to come back on top and have a lead that would carry him till the end of the championship. But what happened there, Ruslan? Tell us a little more.
Well, Oscar Wilkins, if we follow him, I'd actually like to follow his onboard, and just take a look at the driving skill. Now, Oscar has seen the stewards room by far the most out of any driver. Obviously, we have the virtual stewards room, but it's a stewards room nonetheless. I think he's on extremely thin ice at this point. I mean, if we were to have an analogy to F1, he's on the maximum penalty points before getting a race ban potentially, because he's been involved in an accident every single race that we've done, beyond even the championship, even with the one-off race at Spa, and he's always been on the wrong end of it. He's always been the one who was found at fault.
That is very true, but I would like to defend the stewards here, because I was one of the stewards at the first round, right? I only replaced Dan from the second weekend of our racing as a commentator. Let me just say, what Oscar did from the first round onwards was always repeated in the forthcoming rounds. And as a steward's job, motorsports is meant to be safe. Safety is key in the sport for us, and the actions had their repercussions. So I'm sorry, but what the stewards deemed last race was completely fair.
I 100% agree with the calls of the stewards. I think there have been some very, very interesting and unbecoming incidents involving Oscar Wilkins, and I know him to be a better driver than that. I think it's just literally a string of bad luck and maybe a little bit of over-eagerness.
That is very true. Over-eagerness actually brings me to the car. I thought maybe you should dive into the car a bit. Leave Oscar on his lap here in the practice round.
Well, yes. As I said, the car is very, let's say, rear happy. So you're always fighting that oversteer, but at the same time that makes you fast. You're
very true.
If you're facing understeer, you're always gonna have an issue with pace, and the best setups are always gonna be pointy.
Very true. Very true.
With the new 992.2 car, it's almost as fast as GT3's. It's unbelievably fast. It has so much aero, and it's got ABS introduced into it, and so it's a big and powerful machine. But the trade-off is that it's quite stiff. But let's go through a lap. We're gonna go into turn 1 here, braking at the 200-yard board, or just a little bit before. Turn 1 is called the horseshoe, and it exits into a very widening right-hander. And now we're gonna go into turn 3, the NASCAR bend. It's a mix between trail and turning. You have to really balance the sort of grip. Left hook, turn 4, and then we're into turn 5, 5A, 6, 6A, called the snake, which Oscar's entering now. And you can see it's pretty self-explanatory. Very tight, single line. If you're side by side, it's going to be a spectacle. Then heading into the second half of the lap, 7, 8, 9 are flat. And then going into 10, a blind left-hander, super quick. And if you get it wrong, it throws you onto the grass, onto the dirt. 11, 12, called the oak tree, named after an oak tree that's no longer there for safety reasons, but it's very, very beautiful when it was there, and the bend would take you around the oak tree. That spits you out onto the longest straight of the lap, going from turn 12 to turn 14 immediately. Only VRR things, I guess. Lots of elevation change, but perfectly straight, going into my favorite section, the roller coaster, the trickiest brake point on the track. Also a great overtaking opportunity, and that spits you out into turn 16. Now 17 is the last double right-hander. Also important to get a massive exit, because it's the second best overtaking opportunity, and arguably the better in terms of braking. If you do get the run, you're probably going to throw it harder into turn 1 than turn 14. And that was a lap by Oscar Wilkins as we are coming into the end of our practice session.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, love to see it. A little bit about that oak tree, actually. That oak tree was struck by lightning after almost standing 200 years of his life back in 2013, and that's when they had to actually decommission it, because it was actually a very mournful act for them. They had a complete funeral around it. But yes, it's got quite its name for its late braking between obviously turn 11 and 12, and it's quite the famous I would say,
track, you could say.
Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth, Ruslan. Famous element to the track. Right, coming to qualifying. So we've got 10 minutes of pure qualifying action here. Jack Doe first out of the pits, showing us what he's got. You know, obviously warming up the tires and brakes through this formation lap, or I would say out lap, before actually getting on hot pace. These cars are beautiful, man. I mean, the 992.2 from the 992.1s, they're pretty amazing. You know, they've got a water cooled engine, naturally aspirated 4-liter boxer engine, and because it's mounted in the rear, you know, it's exceptional. It's got its disadvantages with being mounted in the rear. Oversteer is the biggest enemy here, but it can be a little aggressive and suddenly if you're not throttle I would say careful. But the rear engine layout also delivers exceptional traction on corner exits. You know, that weight over the driven wheels means the 992.2 can actually deploy its 520 horsepower with minimal wheel spin. So you see car number 10 here, if it gets a proper exit on this one, it's flat out through the snakes down to, I would say, turn 6. That's right. But yeah, we've got some interesting liveries, like I mentioned earlier. A Petronas livery on a Porsche. Never thought I'll see that.
You would be surprised what folks on iRacing are going to be putting as their liveries.
Oh, yeah,
as we saw last week.
Actually, yeah, very true. With SpongeBob and Barbie coming in.
And we had a Force India livery, and we had, I think, even a Mercedes livery from Thomas Ingram Hill.
That is true. We actually, for our audience and for our viewers, you might not know, but we do practice servers a day before the actual race happens. And we had one yesterday with someone actually racing with a Hamilton Ferrari livery on one of their Porsches. And I was like, I've never seen that one before.
Definitely. I mean, you could see Jack Doe has my face rocking on the roof. I tried my best to show it off.
I think the most beautiful car out there.
Yeah, we might have to include that in some of our Instagram posts. So be sure to follow our Instagram at Drivers Lab. We're going to be probably posting a story with that livery showcased. Interestingly, Jack Doe, whilst not being sponsored by Drivers Lab, obviously it'd be unbecoming of us as organizers of the tournament to sponsor any one driver. He's still choosing to rock
very true
the Drivers Lab logo.
Very true. But if you see, Jack Doe's car has a logo from a little educational institute that we are very much partners with, called Minerva, where we did our own iRacing championship before we launched our very own independent series. And it's nice to see.
For the MVA, I don't know if you see it on the stream, but yes, that's what we're talking about.
Very true. So I see the first lap of this qualifying session has been set by our own in-house favorite, Hassan Saigal. A 153.79.
We love Hassan, but we don't have favorites. Don't forget.
That is true. Sorry.
Yes. So we have to remember our stewards training, Amir. We have to be not only impartial, but also perceived to be impartial.
Very true. These moments you only get to see on Drivers Lab live streams.
Yes, indeed. Rexy livery from Hassan.
Beautiful.
Iconic now at this point.
Very true.
A very, strong team in IMSA, and even in their European entries. Jack Doe.
A 147.
Right, so I should have been paying more attention because that was not representative lap times. We're finally getting representative lap times at the 147 area. I think we could see a 146 Though in practice, in optimal condition, you could probably get a low 45 or a high 44. So the conditions are not favorable today. It is quite hot, but I can see there is a decent amount of rubber laid already on the track, and the grip is only going to get better. So we'll see how the lap times improve across the race.
Very true, very true. I mean, I've just got to say, man, that camera angle from the snakes and the S's that they like to call it, so beautiful. I mean, the Porsche is just jumping around those blind corners and going into spots that the driver does not expect. It's just amazing. But I'm sure, like, the drivers going around that lap after lap, they just get used to it. Aren't I right?
Indeed.
But yeah, this connection between the brand Porsche and the track, it's quite iconic, you know. Like I mentioned earlier, IMSA did their first 2 GT races in the United States on this track, and both of them were won by Porsches. So there's a certain legacy involved with this brand and this track in itself.
Yeah, definitely. I see. You can see the glimpse of the roof. But no, I love VIR. It's one of my favorite tracks. When I first got to drive it on Assetto Corsa, actually, before I joined iRacing, and would have been, I think, 2016, 2017. I instantly fell in love. I think it's a track with characteristics that are missing from modern tracks today. It's bumpy, it's unforgiving, it's old school.
Completely agree. Completely agree. That, you know, there's a saying by Carroll Shelby where he finished one of his first races here, and he said that 1 lap at VIR is like 100 at Watkins Glen. So take what you may from that. But
look, okay, that's Watkins Glen slander right here. If I can share an opinion on this live stream.
Well, I would like to say that this track was not laser cut, but it was made by a bunch of blokes that wanted farmland to do racing. So
listen, for a bunch of farmers who wanted to you know, do a hoot in their F-150, most likely, I think they did a pretty good job.
I would say so. Yes.
I'm not saying Watkins Glen is all that, but it's not 100 times worse than VI. All right.
Hey, this is the words of Carroll Shelby. Shelby, sorry. This is not me speaking here. But back to...
Hold on. But maybe the track limit issue at Watkins Glen is... And the pit entry, my god. Okay, we're VIR. Let's focus on
we
VIR.
are veering off, yeah.
Gravel rant. I'm gonna go another gravel rant. There isn't any here, thankfully. I'm not gonna go fully unhinged today. But I would like, before we finalize the qualifying, I would like your predictions.
Well, coming into the weekend, you know, after the practice session yesterday, I feel like Jack Doe is strong here. But, and like I like to say, actually, he's got a pretty name for our league now. He's the qualifying king. He always sets to have really amazing lap times in quali, but somehow messes up the race. This is not my words again. This is the league standing in its own. But yeah, Jack Doe putting in some very good times. So I would say Jack Doe would be a very preferable person. Followed by, I think, Hassan Saigal, even though I see that he's 7/10 off right now. Everyone's got 1 minute 50 seconds left to this session, so I would say close to a lap remaining if you're crossing the finish line now. Yeah, we've... I don't see Aziz Omar on this list, actually.
Yeah, it's...
Quite surprising.
He is connected. He is just in the pits at the moment. He's choosing not to go out.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, Aziz Omar, if you're listening to this, I don't think you can set a lap time anymore.
Well, even though you don't set a lap time, you can still just start at the back in iRacing, so that's not going to be a problem. He was a little on the back foot, I think, yesterday on the practice server.
Yep.
But, you know, we'll see how things go. I'm sure we're going to see plenty of carnage, as is customary. And we see Oscar Wilkins dip a wheel on the gravel. Not enough to lose the lap and invalidate the lap, but enough to probably lose a bunch of pace.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I just saw Oscar Wilkins there same as you saw him, and feel like the oversteer there is just so snappy, you know? It's just these cars, they struggle controlling that corner, and you just gotta be so careful with the throttle modulation in that turn. And with
We're gonna follow Hassan Saigal actually here for what will be the final lap of his qualifying. Going through turn 1, nice and tidy. You can get a little bit of oversteer here, but he's good. Prefers the tight line through turn 3. There's a couple of different lines through there, but the tight line seems to be what the pros prefer. Coming in through 4, nice and tidy, setting himself up nicely for the snake. Not taking too much curb. A little bit of a moment. Is he gonna dip a wheel on the grass? He's not. So continuing on with the lap, now coming up to 7, 8, 9. Front wheels lift a little bit through there, and he's chosen to abandon the lap. Let's go to Oscar Wilkins, who needs to improve over Jack Doe to gain pole position. Jack Doe sitting on provisional pole at the moment. Now again, just done with the snake. And Oscar Wilkins had his lap time invalidated, unfortunately. I guess are gonna see Jack Doe
on pole
as our pole position. I don't think there's anyone else left to take his spot off. Now he's still finishing his lap, and I do believe he's a little bit ahead. And he might have even a chance to improve. And no, actually, I'm just checking my notes here, and this lap was also invalidated for Jack Doe. And you know, that brings us to another point: track limits. You know, we have an incident limit here.
Yep.
17 incidents. This could be the first race where that is legitimately challenged and crossed.
Absolutely,
if you cross
absolutely.
17 incident points, that is a drive-through penalty. And at the level that we are driving at today, that is race ending.
That is very true. And with that, we come to an end to qualifying. You know, our standings now are Jack Doe, followed by Oscar Wilkins, Velasquez, Saigal, Reyes, Bentuk, Canosa, Marceo, and then we've got, I think, Aziz Omar and...
Yeah, we've got a couple of folks who have chosen not to qualify. We're hopefully going to see them on the grid anyways. Oh, and then see Marcelo having a little bit of a moment out of the last corner. Nevertheless,
beautiful sunny afternoon at VIR. All cars are getting pretty ready for our grid. You know, yeah, an interesting race coming up.
I'm so excited.
Even though I must say, our grid is quite small this round. Obviously because a lot of our actual iRacing League participants are real life racers as well.
Yes, correct.
So we've got a lot of real life racing happening around the world. So
that's what some of the drivers had to juggle. We have some of the drivers here racing in the Japanese Formula Series, that's F4 and beyond.
Yep.
We have drivers racing in British Formula Series, that's GB3, British F4, and so on and so forth. So they have to balance their weekend with, you know, travel and racing, and then also hopping on them, practicing.
Right.
Is the grid.
So this is our grid for today. Pole position Jack Doe, followed by Oscar Wilkins. You've got the second row with Velasquez, followed by Hassan Saigal in P4 with that proxy livery. We've got P5 Russell Reyes, who's back this round after not being in last round, followed by Saeed Bentuk. Beautiful helmet there. Then you've got P7 Canosa with Marcelo. Canosa having the Petronas livery, followed again by Marcelo and Brady with Omar.
Well, Brady is not racing.
Very true. That is our steward who's spectating. And then we have got Aziz Omar, who did not qualify, along with Kaminsky.
A new face.
Yep, I've never heard that name before, and we don't have him in the standings. So let's see if this is our new one for this round.
Yes, indeed. Let's go to the chopper cam, and we see everyone on the grid almost. Actually, I believe that's Daryl Brady not on the grid. So we are going to be waiting 40 seconds until the standings start. Round 3 of the Drivers Lab iRacing Championship. I mean, I can't wait. If there was any round that I was looking forward to the most at the beginning of the championship, it's this. But then I heard that there might be rain at Spa, so maybe I'm more excited for Spa. But anyways,
it's gonna boil down next week. I'm telling you that.
we are focused on VIR today. Let's not get distracted. Talking to myself mostly, to be honest. And yeah,
amazing. So
5 seconds to the start sequence.
And we have our lights on screen.
Let's
All
see.
cars ready on track.
And it's
Lights
green.
out
Go,
and
go,
away
go.
we go at VIR.
Yes, let's go. Oscar Wilkins not getting the best start, getting jumped by Velasquez. Going into turn 1, the inside line is the superior line. We see them going side by side. So far, so good. Minimal contact, if any, and Velasquez does get the place. Saigal maintains 5th position, luckily, and now we're seeing 2 groups forming. Jack Doe being the leader of the first, and Bintok being the leader of the second, going into the snake side by side. Oscar Wilkins and Velasquez managed to sort themselves out. Oscar Wilkins regains 2nd place. We are seeing Jack Doe now putting up a little bit of a lead, and you can see my beautiful mug on the livery of Jack Doe. And right now it's single file, and we have someone off. We have someone desperately in the grass. We'll catch that replay. I believe that is Rain Marcelo who has crashed. We're on board with Hassan Seigal, who is the last person in this little train of cars going for the lead.
That is true. That is true. All of them
is crazy on this track, by the way.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt, but yes.
All of them following closely with Jack Doe, coming up to these blind bends, I would say. Hassan Seigal in P4, no, in P5 actually. He's lost a position since grid start.
Right at the start.
And looks like he's following Reyes very closely, and that's 1 lap around the circuit already. It's a very clean action, I would say. Only other than Rain Marcelo crashing in turn 3, I believe. Yes, turn 3. But it's been clean racing all along. That's what we like to see.
And Hassan Saigal outbreaks himself, losing a lot of time now, more than a second behind Russell Reyes. And we see the gap now between Saigal and Bintok getting...
Oh!
We have Russell Reyes off the track.
Oh!
No!
Slippery tires, that!
No, that's Michael Velasquez. I do apologize. Michael Velasquez going on a little bit of a field trip.
And that gives Hassan Seigal the opportunity to come to P4, even though he messed up his turn 1. Great work, great work. We've got Oscar Wilkins and Jack Doe very close here.
Jack Doe is off track. Manages to keep it into Oak Tree. No, but into Oak Tree, then Oscar Wilkins throws it down the inside. And now it's going to be a drag race down to the roller coaster. There's no favorite line. You can make the overtake on the outside, on the inside, but Jack Doe slots behind.
Yeah, seems
but
like
look, he has the toe. He might pull out again. He might pull out again. Is he gonna make the move? Oh, he chooses to stick behind. Gives him a little bit of a bump on the back, but so far so good.
Seems like NASCAR here, bump drafting there.
Oh wow, Jack Doe losing it into Oak Tree a little bit, not enough to destroy his race, but certainly losing a position. We have Bintok dropping down a couple of places. We're gonna get a look at that replay eventually.
But that gives us the new leader of this race, Oscar Wilkins. All are approaching to turn 1. Jack Doe very close to him. Is he going to make a move? No, that's too risky. They keep going at it. Oscar Wilkins taking turn 1 effortlessly and taking it into NASCAR bend. Followed by the left hook in turn 4. Let's see what they have here.
Yes, now it's a very important part of the lap. You're setting yourself up for one of it's a deceptive straight, but it is a straight. It's a long time that you're on throttle fully, and it's important that you stay within tow. And Jack Doe has done exactly that. 4 tenths behind. That's exactly where you want to be. You don't want to be too close and lose that downforce going through these fast corners, but you also don't want to be too far back and lose the tow. And we see them actually dipping a couple of wheels on grass. We have incidents coming in left, right, and center. As you remember, we have 17 of those, so you can't be doing that every lap, or else you will be getting a drive-through eventually. I think this is a good time now. Run through some replays just after this this section here. Once we get through the roller coaster, I don't believe Jack Doe is close enough. He's the closest out of all the group to make a move, but I think he's just a little bit too far. And yeah, I would like to go and see what happened with Rain Marcello.
Well, I think what happened to Rain Marcello is what was happening to all those NASCAR drivers not able to find a proper line. And that is exactly it.
Yeah, so Rain Marcello crashing. I think this is the very first time that he crashed. This is with the group. Yeah, this is lap 1. This is what the replay I was looking for. Yeah, Rain Marcello out towards the back.
Oh my god!
Just going wide. I don't know if it's something with the setup that went wrong, if it's a...
Some Porsche Dakar Safari right here.
Yes, indeed. We're gonna go on board with Velasquez on lap 2, losing a position. He is currently the car in P4 on this replay. And just P3, apologies.
Oh!
Yeah, outbrakes himself. ABS taking him wide. We can take a look at Said bin Tok also having a moment. An interesting livery. And yeah, just caught out on the bumps. And
oh,
and
no!
Yeah, and let's go back to live.
Like I said, Ruslan, I was raving about it all during practice and qualifying. Oversteer is your biggest enemy on this track, and all those incidents we saw, all of them were because of that.
Yes, indeed. Oversteer, oversteer, oversteer. You have to watch the car balance going through. If you push too much, it's going to oversteer. If you hit the bump wrong, it's going to oversteer. That's why practice is so important. And here we have, actually, if we go on board with Jack Doe, he might be close enough, and Oscar Wilkins knows that, moves out of the way to break tow, and yeah, this might be enough for Jack Doe not to be able to send it. Oscar Wilkins, great racecraft, seeing exactly what needed to be done to maintain the position, and we go on board 2 cars back with Hassan Segal. You can see how close the top 4 are.
Yep, and I absolutely love seeing that. It's Oscar Wilkins is showing great defense and racecraft right here, and Jack Doe, unlike his previous rounds, is being very considerate of that, and he's not dive bombing, which is quite different from him this time around. He's being very careful with how he's planning his moves. Maybe that's a trait for this car, but yeah, it seems very interesting how they're taking this race together. Coming into this NASCAR bend right here. Very easy to lose it. Oscar Wilkins loses it a little, and Jack Doe.
And Jack Doe makes the move.
Amazing!
Makes it stick. Wow, well done, Jack Doe.
Just as we were talking, and just as we saw it on the onboard, oversteer is your biggest enemy.
Yes, just like Rain Marcello, going, or was it Michael Velasquez? Going wide into turn 3, the NASCAR bend. It's a very tricky corner. You have to make sure you're balancing speed and turning. And we see Oscar Wilkins fall a little bit of a victim to that. Even the top drivers at this track with this car, there's going to be mistakes. And if you're just patient, you can avail yourself some great opportunities. But with that, we see now Oscar Wilkins painfully close. Behind
very close.
Jack Doe. Is he going to be looking at making a move down into the roller coaster? It seems not yet. Again, it's a little bit of a strategic race. Almost 10 minutes gone by. They're thinking about the last 5, I believe. There's
for sure.
There's too much on the line now to be making moves like these. And I think, for me, this is great driver development for Jack Doe. I think Jack Doe previously would have just been trying to send it every opportunity.
100%.
But here he's been patient.
Yes, and that's what we like to
speaking
see
about
here, you know. And I feel like Jack Doe's been practicing a lot with not only his quali times but his race prep. And I feel like, you know, if it sticks like this, he's got a very, very, very good chance of winning this race. But as I say that, I feel like Oscar Wilkins is also showing such strong traits. You know, that oversteer in NASCAR bend, but he's still stuck it to P2, and he's still following him very close to the S's here. He's very closely followed by Russell Reyes, who I feel like is being careful and not fiddling around with the top 2 fights, because he's keeping Hassan Saigal on his back. So it's quite interesting here. You know, we've got a difference of around 3/10 between the first 4 drivers here. Looks very interesting as we come into Oak Tree right here.
And yeah, as the leaders are fighting, they're keeping everyone behind them close, and those who have maybe lost time in the race before are getting the opportunity to catch up, as we see Michael Velasquez catching up and making up for the mistake that he made on lap 2. And now he's firmly within earshot almost of the drivers ahead, almost within a second.
That's true, that's true. Oh man, I love to see that. All P1, P2, P3, P4, all of them so close to the action, and it's only 14 minutes left to this race end. I'm not sure how they're going to strategize, especially Hassan Saigal, because he's P3 in the championships right now. What is he thinking right now in the car? What do you think, Ruslan?
I think he's going to be waiting for a mistake. That's what I'd be doing in his situation. I think with the leaders being so feisty and always trying to look for a move and look for a weakness, this is prime breeding ground for a contact or you know, someone to make a huge mistake, as we already saw Oscar make and Jack make and Michael make. You keep waiting for these mistakes and stay clean, I think you're gonna come out ahead.
That is true. That is very true. Yeah, I feel like one of the strategies here could be to back away P2 and 3 and just move on for Oscar Wilkins, you know, because I feel like Russell Reyes might start to get closer here. You know, he's kept a gap of 3/10, but also that's because he's been closely followed by Hassan Saigal. Very interested to see what Hassan Saigal has in for us for this race. It's been quite interesting as they come into Oak Tree and exit that corner for the long straight towards Roller Coaster. I see Hassan Saigal is being caught up by Velasquez as well. The front grid is quite separated from what seems to be Omar Aziz. 9 seconds
Oscar
off them.
Wilkins pulls out for a move into turn 14. We're going side by side. What's gonna happen? Is Jack Doe gonna be able to hold it? He does. But a switchback from Oscar Wilkins.
And
now he's
Jack
stuck on the
Doe
outside.
makes it stick. Wow. Brilliant racing as they bump and they get some airtime there. What beautiful racing from Jack Doe and defending himself from Oscar Wilkins right there. We love to see that. And
Amazing.
that pack has got so much closer than what it was earlier. You see, Velasquez has now only 3/10 of a gap in front of him. With Saigal, I'm at loss of words of how close this is getting.
This is amazing. I mean, 5 cars on track, separated by less than a second on the road. This is unheard of in real life. This is unheard of even in sim. You can see they're bumper to bumper. I mean, wow.
Oh my god, Russell Reyes is just bump drafting Oscar Wilkins there. And Saigal, he's just keeping his distance. He is smart enough to do that. We know that. And look at them going to the S's, just bump drafting each other. It's pure NASCAR action, like I'll see here.
It's fantastic what we're seeing here, and the product of this is from Jack Doe being a little bit defensive on the driving. He's losing a little bit of pace, and that's keeping the pack together. I think if Yeah, I mean, it's just so difficult to break down because it's such a moving situation. And we see Jack Doe. That's a little bit of cheeky Jack Doe action right there. He's parked it on the apex, and that means Oscar Wilkins didn't get the run that he would have wanted, and now he's at risk from Russell Reyes behind. Now going side by side into turn 14. Jack Doe, a master stroke of strategy, and now they're going side by side. Reyes on the inside and able to make the mistake. And now we're seeing the switchback. On the outside, Oscar Wilkins manages to hold it on the clean part of the track.
Beautiful!
Wow, what a shuffling of positions.
And
I mean,
what a move by Jack Doe, you know? Backing Oscar Wilkins there, not letting him get the perfect run off that exit towards roller coaster. And Russell Reyes catching up to Oscar Wilkins. But big up to Oscar Wilkins for keeping his position in. And Hassan Segal!
Down the inside, and he makes the
Amazing!
fantastic move, absolutely fantastic move. And yes, now Russell Reyes is the loser in the situation. Hassan Segal regains the position that he lost at the start of the race to the same driver, and
he's in a podium spot now. Beautiful racing from these gents here, all of them going towards the S's right here, and Jack Doe keeps the lead. Hassan Segal is now followed by Russell Reyes, opposite situation right here, but you see Velasquez is getting quite close as well. You know, both of them Filipino drivers right here racing for that podium position, hopefully. 9 minutes left to this race as they all go through, I would say, what turn is this?
It's the South Bend turn 10, now going up to Oak Tree. I'm gonna show again the helicopter shot, the beautiful helicopter shot, just to give you context of how close these drivers have been the whole time. They've gone a little bit spread out, but I feel like it's gonna be a circle of life that now Jack Doe and Oscar Wilkins are gonna start fighting again. They're gonna close down the field, and Oscar Wilkins has a wild run, but not quite enough runway to make the move onto Jack Doe. Jack Doe missing the apex just slightly, and that might put him in a little bit of a precarious position going into the final corner. Is Oscar Wilkins going to be able to get a run? I mean, it's bumper to bumper. Yeah, that is too close. I think Oscar Wilkins is going to get a brilliant tow, and Jack Doe has to pick a side. And he sticks down the inside.
Oh, there's contact right there!
No, but that's bump drafting. That's strategic moves from Oscar Wilkins. He's trying to give Jack Doe a little bit of a bump so that he goes faster, so that they make a gap to the group behind, led by Hassan Segal. This is, again, a little bit of racecraft coming in from Oscar Wilkins this time, choosing not to make a move, but to push Jack forward so that they build a gap. I mean,
I love this view, mate. I love this view. This is such a beautiful view of the racing that's unfolding in front of us, with that gap starting to build between Oscar Wilkins and Segal. You know, it's become one second and 100 tenths. It's beautiful racing right here, and I think I saw Russell Reyes getting way too close to Hassan Segal on the exit of NASCAR, and that was quite something to see. But you know, Velasquez is very much into this action as well, as they all turn into Oak Tree right there.
Very important exit right here.
Jack Doe is under pressure now, I must say. 7 minutes into this, well, 7 minutes 40 seconds left into this racing action, and our top 5 are just giving us a brilliant show to follow along.
Look at this run right here. And is he gonna? No, he's gonna go. He's gonna move side by side. We're gonna have another
Risky
attempt from Oscar Wilkins.
Oh!
Oscar Wilkins is off the track. Bye bye.
Oh no!
That is so unfortunate.
Oh
Jack
no!
Oscar Wilkins make contact.
Oh no!
And Oscar Wilkins then spins out again. Oh no, we're gonna go back to the lead. Jack Doe does lose a little bit of time in that contact, perhaps even picking up a little bit of damage that allows Hassan Segal to, and this is going to be 3 wide.
Oh no!
It's going to be 2 wide. Hassan Segal trying to make a move on the outside, and now Russell out. Russell Reyes says thank you very much for the free space on the inside of turn 1. And
not yet!
And all that kerfuffle, we have Michael Velasquez losing out from Hassan Segal. Oh wow!
Oh
It's
my
all
god,
unraveled now.
everything's gone to. Oh my god, what have we just witnessed? Oscar Wilkins spinning out twice on that exit. I'm interested to see what the stewards have to say about Jack Doe and Oscar Wilkins right there. We'll come back to that replay in a bit, right after they cross Oak Tree here, as Russell Reyes is closing in with Jack Doe. Hassan Seigal had a very good chance at P2 right there, but he completely messed it up with Russell Reyes just taking over that position.
That is true. We're gonna go and replay the moment where Jack Doe and Oscar Wilkins had the impact. We're gonna go slow it down. This is a wonderful shot from the helicopter camera. You can see that they're completely side by side. And Oscar Wilkins, it's so close. You can see, I mean, just goes a touch wide.
Eesh, that is tough to see. You know, that was
very tough to see.
Such a beautiful fight all along this race. And Oscar Wilkins somehow.
We're gonna go to Michael Velasquez now. We're gonna go on the chopper camera. You can see.
Oh no!
Just unfortunate. If we go and take a little bit of a rewind.
Was there a little bit of contact that I see there?
It was definitely contact. Now Hassan Seigal clips a little bit of the dirt and then goes a little bit wide
I feel like
Michael Velasquez's line. It's a little bit unfortunate. I don't think there was anything malicious in that.
For sure, I feel like Hassan Seigal's oversteer just got Michael Velasquez out of sight and out of mind and out of the track.
Indeed. We're gonna go back to live. Now Russell Reyes is chasing down Jack Doe. Hassan Seigal is right behind, ready to pick up any pieces of that battle. And in the end, Velasquez didn't lose out that much time. Maybe in the 3 to 4 laps that are remaining in this race, he'll have the chance to come back.
That is true. Well, if you're just joining in with us right now, Oscar Wilkins was P2 or P1 for the very much of the race until now. He's P6. It's very sad to see, but it was beautiful racing between him and Jack Doe for most part of this race. Now Jack Doe being followed by Russell Reyes going into the roller coaster, and followed by Hassan Seigal with the second and hundreds of gaps. Yeah, why is the windshield activated?
We see that it's less than half a second separating these top two drivers at the moment. That is firmly within tow range, and Russell Reyes, if he gets a competitive exit out of the last corner, which he has done over Jack Doe, plus the tow that he's gonna get, can potentially give him an opening into turn 1. Maybe not quite. He's gained 2/10 down the straight from the tow, and
well, we hoped.
He makes himself big in the mirrors, gives Jack Doe a little bit of a flash of the headlights to make sure that, hey, I'm here, and I'm not going away that easily.
But not here for long, you know. They've got 3 minutes of racing left, and Russell Reyes, he's got to have these corners. These corners, they count for him. This is one of the final laps of this immensely exciting and exhilarating round of iRacing with us at Drivers Lab. And Russell Reyes just following Jack Doe so closely through the S's and going into the South Bend. You know, this is where one of the most crucial corners comes into play.
No way he's gonna try and send it.
Oh,
that was absolutely never gonna work. Russell Reyes, what are you doing? That is a crazy move to make. And Jack Doe's gonna cut the entire track and rejoin. I mean, that's an interesting interpretation of the safe rejoin rules. We're gonna see what the stewards think about that.
Yeah,
but
very
Russell Reyes down the inside of South Bend. I mean, that is a crazy place to attempt an overtake.
Yeah, that was not appreciated, I would say, and
I don't think that was ever on, mate. I really don't.
Yeah, I just feel like he did not belong there. He did not belong where he was then. And with that, Hassan Seigal was just getting close when we shifted to this replay.
We're just gonna replay from the chopper cam, and you can see Russell Reyes tries to send it down the inside. He does have a run, but it's almost a full speed corner. I mean, you're never gonna.
Oh no!
That is tough.
Looks like Jack Doe's given back his position, or is that through? Let's go back to live here.
Yeah, let's go back to live. We have Russell Reyes and Jack Doe battling.
Back to back here.
Who would have thunk? And Hassan Saigal is right there in the mix. This is a wild ending. I don't know how this ever came to be. Jack Doe completely got crashed out, and yet he is still battling for P2.
Yeah, something about that rejoin. Let's see what the stewards deem, because I feel like that lap did not have the oak tree for Jack Doe, but more of oak grass for him. But they are closely followed by Hassan Saigal, who has a clear shot at podium now.
And so does Velasquez. Velasquez is back after being off.
Yeah, there's somewhat weird racing here.
This is
where
insane.
have they spawned from?
This is insane. And again, we have Jack Doe attempting a move down.
Oh my god! Oh my god! They're just going for it. It's like bumper cars out here.
So impatient. This is great to see. It does look like it may be last lap.
And it's side to side. It's side by side. You know,
side by side.
I think this might be the checkered flag lap. Is it?
It might be. Yeah. So the timer just kind of crept up.
Oh my god! It's
side by side.
three-way.
Almost three-way.
Oh!
No! We have Michael Velasquez making a move for the win of the race. He's going side by side with Russell Reyes.
Does Michael Velasquez make it stick? No, he does not!
Russell Reyes actually is staying out in front, and he's going to take the checkered flag in front.
What is happening?
Velasquez is P2, and Hassan Saigal is trying to drag his car across the line in front of Velasquez.
What is happening?
Be able to do it, and he secures third place. But surely...
Oh, come on!
Surely...
What did we just witness? Michael Velasquez with the lead for the millisecond. Oh my god, that was something... Oh my god, what did we just witness? We have to see a replay on that, and I feel like the stewards are gonna have a very good time in their rooms after this race end. What did we just witness?
Absolutely crazy moment.
Absolute shame for Jack Doe. Come on.
Let's take a replay of that. First, we're gonna go live. Actually, we're gonna go back to live, and we're gonna look at the results as they cross the line. We have Russell Reyes, Michael Velasquez in second, and then we have Hassan Saigal in third. I mean, we're gonna go through the whole driver list eventually. But
yeah. So
what a crazy race! In all that, Oscar Wilkins found himself going the wrong way round and ends up in P5 still. And in all of that, the non-qualifier Aziz Omar is in P4, just outside of podium.
Absolute shame for Jack Doe, man. Absolute shame. That last lap was so uncalled for. He had a clear win in the books for most parts of this race, and then an absolute shambles towards the end. I'm sure Jack Doe must be extremely gutted right here.
Let's take a look at this final incident.
We have to. We have to. Michael Velasquez had the lead for a moment there. It was just. Let's look at this in slow-mo. We've got to look at this. What really happens here?
Oh, hold on. I might have just put up the wrong bit. We have. Let's take a look at this here. Now this is the final lap, the final overtaking opportunity. Now this is going into turn 14. This is the roller coaster. You might actually be better to apply this camera angle here. We have Jack Doe just outbraking himself. Yeah, he's just outbraking himself.
And finds the tire wall in his sights right there. Absolute shame for him.
Completely side by side going into turn 14.
Let me just say there was a little bit of three-way action here, you know, with Hassan.
Yeah, look, Hassan sticks his nose in as well, and Jack Doe, knowing that he's on the outside, maybe the slightly less favorable position here, but is so far ahead, maybe then it sees, oh, but there's a little bit of netcode. I feel
like there might be a little bit of contact, and that wasn't late braking.
There may be a little bit of contact if we just look at this replay right here.
Okay, so we've got Jack Doe very closely followed by Russell Reyes. He got the 100. board marking right there, and then they go stern with
Yeah.
Russell Reyes front left, giving a little
Is
nudge.
that a little bit of a clip? That
Yes.
does look like contact.
That is definitely contact. I cannot say that that could have been an action because of his braking technique right there.
I would say definitely a little bit of netcode, as we're seeing the two drivers on almost opposite ends of the globe. So we're gonna have a little bit of internet interference. But I firmly believe if we look at this at full speed, I think you can see the exact moment that the nudge is made.
100%
Yeah,
agree.
it doesn't look like Jack Doe actually was at braking himself. I think there was contact there, just a slight one, but obviously enough to send you completely into the wall and get your car fully broken.
Absolute shambles. I mean, as we are speaking and doing this today, but Hassan Saigal putting in a incident report stewards, and the
We'll take a
offending
look at
driver
that
being
eventually.
Jack Doe.
Yeah.
Description being, he stopped my winning hopes. No matter what, you can't just cut the whole track. I 100% agree with Hassan here.
We'll take a look at Hassan's incident in a minute. We're gonna continue analyzing this one because it's just such a crazy incident here. We have Russell Reyes, yeah, just making a tap on Jack Doe's car, and still making it out alive, just barely avoiding Jack Doe on the flip side of it, and all of that allowed Michael Vasquez to make his way through. Now this is going into turn 15. He's on the outside. Michael Velasquez is.
Let me say, this was my most amusing part of the race, because Michael Velasquez, he was the P4, P5 runner all of this race, and all of a sudden he's in lead. He's in the lead, going through the final corners of this race with a clear chance to win, and he still messes it up.
Unfortunately, yes, but also at that point the track would have had a bunch of marbles. And,
yeah, that is just so unfortunate. Very much unfortunate
just
for him.
completely overshot that part of the track. You need to sacrifice a lot of speed into that corner, which Michael Velasquez absolutely did not, and he paid the price coming out of the last double right-hander of turn 17 and 17A, weirdly enough. And that sees Russell Reyes back in front and potentially leading the championship here. I mean, what a crazy turn of events.
Yeah, I mean, I must say this must be one of the most craziest races I have witnessed and commentated on, and this is only my second race that I've been commentating on, so it's just an absolute shambles. I mean, I'm interested to see what the stewards have to decide on all the incidents that led through those final last 5 minutes of this race at VIR. And if you're just joining us, well, you have missed the whole race. But to give you a little brief, we had a clear winner who became the clear loser towards the end. And it's been a very unfortunate circumstance for some drivers, but a really fortunate circumstance for most drivers. I'm interested to see what the final results of this race is going to be, especially after the stewards deem all their penalties and decisions post-race. A reminder for all drivers, you've got 10 minutes after decisions to make your protest, and the stewards will have a look at them accordingly. But as you see on the screen, this was how the race had started for all of us. A lot of exciting actions, a split between banks, like we mentioned earlier. One led by Jack Doe and the second led by Saeed Bentouk. Didn't see much of the race actually, and yeah, quite some racing action. I must say, during this whole race, we had only 5 names on our mouths, and that was Jack Doe, followed by Oscar Wilkins, with Russell Reyes, Hassan Saigal, and Michael Velasquez. But man, Michael Velasquez, he really had us on our chairs. I mean, if I'm looking at the race start right here, Ruslan, you see Michael Velasquez had a really good chance from race start. It's just that he couldn't take that NASCAR bend as it was meant to be taken. So yeah, just loses all hopes and prayers. But final lap, final corner, he had the most amazing God-given miracle chance, and he didn't clinch on it. But yeah, as you see, they're all going towards the NASCAR bend. A very funny and interesting fact about this bend is because it was named the NASCAR bend because the NASCAR drivers from the SCCA championships, they couldn't take this corner properly. They never found proper racing line here. Well, they're oval circuit races, and they always found it hard. And so, funnily enough, the owners back then named it the NASCAR bend.
Fair enough. Wow.
Yeah, man, what a race. We had 10 participants. Yeah.
We have some chat members coming in. We have MVE Minerva Academy Sim Racing account comment and say bottled it again. I can only imagine who this could be referring to.
Yes.
To be fair, I think the initial contact that Jack Doe experienced was not his fault.
It was very unfortunate, and yes, I 100% agree. But also, I would like to protest.
There's been a very interesting track rejoin directly after that, I must say. So, Michael, yes, there is right and wrong in Jack Doe's behavior today. I would say mostly right. I think he's done well. He's done well to keep the lead up until the point that he didn't. We're seeing some penalties being issued, I believe. Amir's currently going through them. But yeah, I would imagine we're not gonna, go through the race without any penalties being dished out because there were some questionable moments. But VIR does bring to us some very questionable moments.
Right, that is true. And with that, I would like us to revisit Oscar Wilkins and Jack Doe's contact. I would say.
On which lap?
I think lap number 10. Lap number 10. Yes, turn 13. I would like to have a revisit on that and see whose
Let's have a look.
fault that have been. So we've got Jack Doe and Oscar Wilkins side by side here. Jack Doe on the outside line with Oscar Wilkins inside. Ooh, this is where we saw Oscar Wilkins lose hopes. And with that,
I mean, I have to go. Hold on. We're just gonna quickly do a replay.
Yeah.
Whoop. Powers of live stream editing. Isn't that beautiful? Gonna go on to Jack Doe's perspective.
Yeah, that is right. And yeah, I mean, while the audience has a look on this, I feel like the stewards are making a decision while we are talking about it.
Take another look.
So, just getting in some intel from our stewards room, and seems like Jack Doe would be handed a 20-second penalty for this incident that's just raveling in front of your eyes on turn 13. Is that right? Yep, turn 13. Very interesting take, but I feel like I somewhat agree to that. There was no space for Oscar Wilkins, and Jack Doe seemed like he turned in. But again, I'm a bit doubtful. I'm sure we are gonna have Jack Doe protest on this one right here.
I'm gonna go ahead and pause at the point of contact. I think we have Oscar Wilkins, comfortably alongside. Even ahead, his bumper is ahead.
That is true.
At this point, I think an argument could be made both ways. Is Oscar supposed to be a little bit tighter here, or is Jack Doe supposed to be leaving more room here?
Right. So I would like to go to the fundamentals of stewarding, and we've got this bend here, so we can't really call it the apex. But considering you're entering the bend with your bumper out in front, it's your bend to take.
Right.
And if you go back a little on this one, you see, well, you wouldn't be able to make it clear out from this one. But you see that Oscar Wilkins is clearly up front taking this bend, while Jack Doe pushes his marbles a bit too hard on this one, squeezing out Oscar Wilkins.
Yeah, very much so.
If you take a look, it's as
Oh, whoops.
that's the best cam you can see. Yep,
It's gonna go a little bit backwards. I wanna look at this from Oscar's perspective. I think that has a little bit of a better view. If we look at them going into the apex, we see Oscar. I mean, he takes about as inside line as you can. There's not really much more that he can go to take the line.
That is true, and
You know?
this is something we saw in the second round of iRacing, where Oscar Wilkins had squeezed out Hassan Saigal, a penalty for that. So it's just it seems very fair to me.
Yeah. One instance that we could look at is if we actually hop on to the cockpit cam, you can actually see as things unfold very slowly. Have a little bit of a wobble of the camera, but we would be able to see the movement of the steering wheel that Oscar makes. Obviously now he's under brakes, starting to move the steering wheel over to the left side to make that corner. Is fully committed to turning left, downshifting whilst doing so. And if stop here, again, you reference, look at Wilkins' name, sticker you see, 8, and then above that you see Wilkins' name backwards. Now just under the S, there is a tree. That's its larger tree. Now that's the reference point that could be used to make out the apex. That's just over the crest of the next corner, 14A, the roller. And so Oscar Wilkins will be pointing his car there or just a little bit to the left to give racing room. In fact, if we even really go from the driver's perspective, because we can do that, you can see that Oscar is firmly pointing his wheel to the left, and then gets hit by Jack Doe. If we look at Jack Doe's perspective and all back, Jack Doe's perspective, they play this and see that it's a little bit of a squeeze. I'd argue that maybe that there wasn't a full kind of racing room left. He's taking the corner a little bit, expecting Oscar to grass.
Yeah, which is not really acceptable.
Yes, and within all that, Jack Doe outbrakes himself. There's multiple ways to look at it. If you look at it again at full speed, you can make an argument that Jack Doe placed his car in a way that afforded no racing room to the other driver. Completely outbraking himself, fully on the ABS, not in control of his car. Again, another key metric for when penalties get decided is, are you fully in control of your car? Yes or no? If you're not fully in control of your car, as we can see by this heavy movement of understeer that sees Jack Doe in the grass, you can make the argument definitely that you not in control and therefore deserve a penalty.
And I think we've just followed the whole stewarding routine of making sure we have witnessed and viewed all sources and data available to us. And it seems like from a 5-point reference, it's just a squeezing out of track action, right? With that being said, I would like to see Jack Doe and Russell Reyes' incident in lap let me check actually. Lap 13, turn 10. This is one of the final corners before the race end.
Yep, so this is both incidents would have happened on the same lap. There's two incidents to look at, so we are just going to go and transition to the incident here. Now I'm going to go back in the cockpit cam of Russell Reyes. We're going to look at it from his driver point of view. First of all, we're going to look at it full speed. He sees an opportunity to nip inside and make a move, and you can see that it caused contact, and that led to Jack Doe spinning out. That led to the chain of events that led to the rest of the race. But if we just go a little bit backwards, and I want to look at
Actually, before we go into this, can you take me through again?
yeah, sure.
I just want this is the right one we're talking about.
So we're talking about the initial incident that saw Jack Doe on the grass, correct?
Yes, that is
Yes.
true.
So this is the incident. This is down after turn 9 into turn 10. Russell Reyes.
Oh, that is true. Yes, and
just touching Jack Doe's rear bumper a little bit, causing him to spin out.
and then doing some not oak tree but oak grass cutting, finding the track
Yes,
and taking over Hassan Seigal's lead, for which he protests about having a clear chance at.
Now, I want to bring up this camera. I think this camera could be quite revealing. So this is the camera looking backwards from the front of Jack Doe's car. We play this in slow motion. We see them. They're going to go through a left for us, a left-hand bend, right-hand for the drivers. And then there's going to be an opposite side curve coming up. And you can see that.
Yeah, this is Jack Doe's corner from any angle, any place. I mean, it's a clear action of reach and contact by the driver that's been following Jack Doe, but in this case, Russell Reyes.
So this is now firmly the turning point. And as we have in the rules, you have to have the front wheels, your front wheels, as the overtaking driver, fully in front of the rear wheels of the driver being overtaken. And clearly we see that's not the case at this point. Not be entitled to racing room. And therefore, Jack Doe is fully entitled to take the normal racing line. And we see here is that did not happen. Jack was not able to complete this corner because he had received contact from Russell Reyes.
Agreed. And yeah, some crazy action on this race. Following this this crash or contact right here incident, I think I have some intel report from stewards where Russell Reyes might be handed a 20-second penalty for this, which would again be followed by a 30-second penalty for his second contact in lap 14.
Okay.
The final turn.
We'll be taking a look at that, but I just want to point out what a legendary I mean, I just want to go back and look at this. I mean, this really gives a perspective in terms of a monumental rejoin of the track.
And just so everyone thinking about what the stewards decide on this one, let me remind you that we follow in-game penalties for cutting and overtaking a whole corner in lap. So it depends on iRacing if that seems fair or not. And I'm not sure what iRacing deemed on this one, but I think we have a final classification by them, and that shows Jack Doe not on podium. So that being said, it's very unfortunate.
I wonder if Jack Doe lost a lap because of this. It does sometimes not count your lap as a valid lap if you cut this much of the track. So I wonder if that's been the case.
That could also be the case, yes, because again, this is set by iRacing and the server settings, or I must say, just in general, iRacing stewarding. So let's see what the stewards release in their final report. All the incidents that have been involved, and with Hassan Seigal's protest on Jack Doe cutting the track.
Yes, indeed. I mean, just look at the racing action. I mean, we should probably even just go for a replay of this. This is This is now after Jack Doe rejoined the track. So this is just a replay of what we were just seeing. Jack Doe, I guess, giving up the position, but not really, because then he's just fully side by side. A weird way to attempt to give back the position. Russell Reyes then battles him into NASCAR corner. Now having the inside through NASCAR is significant, and Reyes was just able to keep there, cuts inside to defend, and job done, bish bash bosh.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why Hassan Saigal might not be impressed with how Jack Doe gave back that position, because if Jack Doe hadn't given back that position, or let's say if Jack Doe actually took Oak Tree corner, Hassan Saigal would have a clear and open chance to do a final lap lead overtake on Russell Reyes. So yeah, with that tactic by Jack Doe, it has heavily compromised Hassan Saigal's potential win, causing him to protest in the manner he's done.
Yes, indeed.
But like we were just following this one, it's final lap, 3 cars into one bend, all deciding for a podium, very closely followed by Michael Velasquez in slow-mo now, and Jack Doe taking that first as the first car, followed by Russell Reyes right beside him, and Hassan Saigal very closely behind him. Jack Doe taking the turn, and I feel like there's a bit of contact right here, causing Jack Doe to out into the tire wall there. Russell Reyes taking the lead, and Michael Velasquez. It's one of those moments,
Through goes Velasquez.
Through goes Velasquez. Exactly.
I want to see this replay actually from his perspective. I want to kind of go back and a little bit here, and actually we want to go on like a little bit of a chopper cam. Now we have all this action unfolding. Hassan Saigal getting heavily bogged down, and Michael Velasquez says, "Oh, there's some free real estate. I'm just gonna pop down here and make it a little bit of home." But then, unfortunately, was not able to make it stick. Russell Reyes comes back and overtakes him on track. Do we have more penalties coming in?
No, doesn't look like it. It just seems that our stewards are currently working on the cut track situation that Hassan Saigal has reported about. So let's see how that unveils.
To me, that's clearly cutting or leaving the track and gaining an advantage. Leaving the track and gaining an advantage. This situation.
That is true. That is true. Look, I'm not sure how the stewards are gonna work this one out, but
yeah. Well, look. Yes, you left the track. It wasn't your fault. Or at least I don't think that it was his fault. Obviously, this then take a look at that incident. Did Russell Reyes end up receiving?
Yes, he did 2 penalties actually, not officially. This is our intel. But yes, he's received 2 penalties for attacks with Jack Doe.
Okay.
But yes, the incidents that we were just talking about, Jack Doe has released a protest with the description saying he sticks his nose into a gap that doesn't exist and spins me around. And this is again in regards to Russell Reyes and Jack Doe going into the bend before.
Yeah. Well, indeed, you leave the track, you must rejoin the track safely and in a sportingly fair way. If you leave the track, however it may be, and then gain a lasting advantage, either need to give it back or be penalized for it.
100% agreed. And I understand he's cut the track in a way that he can't really reach. That's all right. You reach on the track, but you back down.
Yep.
You give the position back, and you then go full legal racing. But clearly that was not followed. I feel like he went into turn 1, gave a little braking moment for Russell to catch up, but then again he was in the fight, and that just made things really, I would say, worse.
So we've had a similar incident involving Jack Doe as well on Spa, and the way we've chosen to structure the is um, we mentioned that if you do gain an advantage by leaving the track, you must seek to give that advantage back at the earliest possible opportunity.
Very true. Very
Now,
true.
if we look at Jack Doe's initial crash here, back, we slow it down. Now, this is a significant advantage because you can see from this angle how much track is cut. And
How much grass is cut?
how much just, I mean, this is a whole different layout at this point. It's not really kind of leaving the track and then rejoining the track.
Yeah, that's
And
just. I would say he should have at least come
we then
right
go
behind
forward,
Hassan Saidal.
this is kind of the first opportunity, right? He keeps his foot planted. At this point, he's still ahead. That is, I would say, the first opportunity to give back the advantage that you gained.
Yep,
through leaving
100%
the track.
agreed. There was no fair racing.
Furthermore, we keep going, and Jack Doe is still ahead. Jack Doe only gives back the position at the braking zone, and even
Just
then,
to get back on the throttle.
and then he still doesn't give the position fully. He just, kind of goes side by side. So, this is entirely separate to the incident where Jack Doe got, a little bump and spun out. That's one incident. This is now a totally separate incident.
Agreed.
And so, I'm just trying to explain what the stewards are going to be saying, but to break down the rules and what the stewards will be looking at, this is kind of it, and how we've structured the rules. And this was explained in multiple drivers' briefings and asked about in general chat. And we like to use common sense, or we attempt to use the best common sense kind of principles and stick to the FIA sporting code, but
100% agreed.
This to me is a little bit absurd.
Yep, I feel like
but also entirely in character.
Yep, there has been says about Jack being banned from the next round. I'm getting some intel from sources, and yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I don't think we'll go to the extent of banning a driver from the final round of this championship, but yes, severe consequences that need severe punishment from the stewards in this round should be given. And I'm interested to see what the stewards deem on this matter. Again, the stewards have been very quiet. They have not released anything officially, so we are waiting on the stewards to release all their statements before we are actually into the protesting decisions process.
Yes, indeed. I want to take a look at some of the actual good racing moments. Let's see if we can go, for example, lap 5. Look at some of the racing that's been going on. This is lap 5. Jack Doe's chasing Oscar Wilkins. We're going 5. This is the NASCAR. Oscar Wilkins goes a little bit wide, and Jack Doe sees an opportunity and makes a pass. I think for Jack Doe, this was a moment of brilliance because he had half moments available to him to make a move, try and attempt an overtake, but he held steady. Very uncharacteristic of him, but he was rewarded for his patience. Oscar made that mistake. Lap 7. Here have Jack Doe leading the pack going into the best overtaking spot, turn 15. Have a lot of toe going on. Oscar will dives down the inside, and at this point, this is almost like a carbon copy repeat of that situation that ended up being the race's last between these two boys. But here they held steady. Jack left enough room, and Oscar was able to stick behind, attempt a switchback, ultimately fail, but they continued on racing. A great bit of battling. We're gonna go back. Gonna go a little bit ahead to next lap. Russell Reyes attempting an overtake in the same place, turn 14, into the roller coaster again with massive toe. Jack Doe sitting in first place, and Russell Reyes and now battling. They're gonna go and again cleanly make their way through. Russell Reyes leaves plenty of room, able to stick ahead. Then tries to do switchback, ends up on the outside significantly ahead, and then makes it stick eventually, gaining the position.
That is true, and yeah, it's been quite the interesting race at VIR.
Sorry, there seems. Just keep the mic.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Amazing. So yeah, some technical issues here. So
I think right here is actually where then Hassan Seigal makes a move on to Russell Reyes.
but let me go back to our
Look at that. A coordinated move. Not a surprise. I like this. I like this from Hassan because Hassan let Russell know that he's looking for the dive. It wasn't a last-minute decision, and he made the move. He executed it, and he caught Russell a little bit napping. Sorry, Amir, you were just saying.
Yeah, no, so I was just talking about, our conversation before the race start where we were quite criticizing Oscar Wilkins for his performance last round. But I must come back to it, he had a beautiful running this round, clear chance of getting very concrete points for the championship, and then just letting it all go. So,
Yep.
Very unfortunate circumstances for Oscar Wilkins here. I feel like racecraft is there, it's just being consistent with it.
It's a numbers game. If you are involved in incidents in every single race, I would say that is your fault. If you're involved in a few, then yes, you can make the argument that it's probably not your fault. So,
Great.
if we dissect and microanalyze this incident that Oscar was involved in this race, sure, he did end up, having the other driver penalized for that move, but need to drive cleaner overall. I'm talking championship wide.
Yeah, it's a very much mix of aggressive driving, which is good in most times, and defensive driving. I personally ride a motorbike in real life, and I have to very much get used to defensive driving nowadays. Those who live in Dubai know what I'm talking about. But this is exactly what I'm trying to say for Oscar Wilkins here, where defensive driving plays a huge role in racing. Yes, gotta be aggressive, you gotta fight for those points, but if you're not defensive enough, you lose out.
Yes, indeed.
So we have officially received our stewards' decisions on the official platform, and Russell Reyes receives a total of 50 seconds time penalty.
Wow.
Involving both his incidents. Jack Doe gets a 10-second penalty for cutting off track. It has been deemed by the stewards that he did get an in-game black flag, but as part of racing, he should have given back those positions, which completely is fair and square.
Yeah, I think that's just standard cutting the track and getting an advantage.
Exactly, and we've got Jack Doe also getting a 20-second penalty.
Wait, hold on.
For the Oscar Wilkins crash, which we saw earlier in lap
Yes,
10
indeed.
and turn 13. So I think like this seems all fair and square. And yeah, I think we're just going to wait for any protest on any of these, but I feel like it's clear-cut cases for all these driving incidents and should not be looked any further. We've seen multiple angles of all these races, and love that bum draft action right there. But
Just
yeah,
looking at some replays, some highlights.
if you're just joining us, we have just completed
You
round
missed everything.
3. Yeah.
If you're just joining us, you have missed everything.
Yep.
You have missed the whole world.
Yep, that is exactly true. But follow us for our next round next Saturday, 5 p.m. Dubai time at or +4 GMT at Spa. Hopefully a rainy weekend like our weather enthusiasts are.
I just looked at the forecast. Like you said, sorry to interrupt, but yes, I just looked at the forecast. It's raining, and we've been modeling the weather of our races around the real track weather at the location that we're racing at, and the drivers knew that from the beginning. They knew rain was always going to be a possibility. So we are going to make some announcements about the setups that we're going to use in wet and dry conditions, because those will differ, obviously. And after that, it's up to the drivers to make sure that they are sorted and practiced and sharpened up on both types of conditions and everything in between, because as we know, rain is a constantly changing affair.
Agreed. And obviously, this weekend in real life, we've got the Spa round with the Creventic 24-hour series. Lots of interesting contenders there with the GT3 Cup car as well that we are seeing on screen right now. So note for all the participants and our audience viewers, we will be back with our Super Formula Lights next weekend. Fun, snappy cars with extreme downforce compared to the Cup cars that we are seeing on screen right now. So it's going to be filled with a lot of actions. And I hope we get to see some participants come back from their hibernation since round 1 and some new faces, hopefully. I feel like I'm doing the ESPN or Sky Sports F1 after race stuff where we have Manchester City versus Aston Villa. Again, two
Why
different
those two teams?
I don't know. They just popped up into my head. Are they?
I know why exactly they popped up in your head. It's because I'm an Arsenal fan.
Exactly, team. And over there, I would like to close the
we're
stream.
ending the stream. I don't care. I will not be insulted.
My dear viewers, we have to finish the stream off by saying, if you're an Arsenal fan, I just hope the very best for you in your life. And
thanks.
Those
are very kind, unsarcastic
yes,
words.
because life is already very miserable for you being an Arsenal fan. So I just hope that walk in the park for you makes you feel better, like Oscar Wilkins.
So yeah, you had to say that as Oscar Wilkins dies of death.
Exactly. He represents what an Arsenal fan faces every day in life. And I feel very sorry for them. I feel like Mental Health Care Day was made for Arsenal fans. Just because of what they have been suffering their entire life. And again, Oscar Wilkins shows us that exact scenario where...
And he's driving a red car.
Exactly. So...
And he trips up on nothing.
I feel like that's...
There is no pressure.
That has proved all my points. And...
I need you to end the stream right now, Amir.
Alright, boys and girls. Take care. Peace. Stay safe. And... Ciao, bambino.